Okay. One of the things that we wanted to have a quick recap on, it's one of the models that sometimes people not necessarily struggle with, but there are long words that are used, and we thought it might be useful to have a recap, is in relation to the adult learning cycle. So if you remember, Marilyn Taylor designed a model to help us understand how adults learn and how that differs to children, for example. We use it particularly around coaching, so if we're coaching somebody and trying to encourage them to try something a little bit different. Equally, it would be very useful when we're managing change and there's a change in either regime or process, or somebody has a new line manager or a new role. So you might also remember the circles. We talked about a comfort zone that people are normally in, stretching them outside that comfort zone, but without getting them into complete panic. And the adult learning cycle is really, really helpful to explain the process that people go through. So if you remember, we talked about equilibrium, bobbing along, if you like, our world in balance. It's our normal, it's our comfort zone. We have got things where we want them. And the expression that Marilyn Taylor uses that sometimes makes people raise their eyebrows, into our equilibrium, into our normal everyday life, comes a piece of disconfirmational information. Just means it disconfirms what we know. It shakes our normal, it makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable, it's outside what we're used to. So our equilibrium could be a really complex job, but we might be a firefighter, which might have a very complex process in it, but we're comfortable because we're trained. The disconfirmational information is about being asked to do something different, or having a new manager or a new regime. This sends us, and this is applicable to everybody, sends us into disorientation, and that shows itself in a number of different ways. So some people withdraw, some people might get really cross, some people might blame the manager who's introduced the new process, some people start telling outrageous jokes to try and divert them away from the new process they're being asked to do, all sorts of different, some people get very stressed about anything new. Trick then for us, either as a coach or as the manager, is to understand that that's normal. Everybody goes through disorientation. Our job is to try and explore why they're going through it, explain things, give them reasoning behind the changes, and to try and stop them dashing back to their equilibrium, because the most tempting thing is, I don't want any of this new stuff, I'm going to stick with what I know and go back to my equilibrium. So the trick is all of the things that we're going to do to help that person explore why we're doing it, what skills might you need, what training might you need, who would be good for you to work with in order to understand the change that we're going through, in order to allow the person to reorientate, to make sense of it in their own head and come back to their equilibrium, but their equilibrium is going to be different because the equilibrium now has new knowledge, new information, new ways of working, new relationships maybe, and they've actually extended their comfort zone and they're operating in a slightly larger way. So hopefully we've used those 4 words and the term disconfirmational information, but made sense of them in a fairly quick and easy to understand way.